Time to talk about this week's episode of The Flash. Full spoilers, as always, for Season 2, Episode 6, entitled Enter Zoom. Barry and his team plan to trap Zoom.
I feel like they missed an opportunity, because they could have called this episode Zoom In, and it would have been a much better pun, personally.
Why didn't they?
I know.
Oh, yeah, they could have, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the important part there is that they use Dr. Light, basically, to get Zoom
Yeah.
to show up. So, Peter, what did you think about, one, their plan to get Zoom, and two, about Zoom himself?
The plan, I mean, Barry was kind of forcing it through, and that's even like a plot point, and Joe brings that up. However, the plan itself to watch was extremely fun, because Linda, like, that training sequence where she's going through the warehouse, like, first of all, Cisco's made all these cardboard cutouts. I love that.
With all his poses.
Yeah. Yeah. And I loved it when Joe sees, like, one of him, like, in his hat, he's like, when have you been working on this? Like, when did this happen? But her going through and, like, shooting the wrong thing and, like, almost shooting Cisco with it.
The high
like,
five moment.
Yeah, the high five. I was like, oh, that's a bad idea. That's a bad, like...
You could see it coming as soon
Yeah.
as you turn around. It's like, oh.
But it was still funny. Like,
Yeah,
it was
still very funny.
It was very funny. They used a lot of humour in this one, which was impressive, because when it got to the point where Zoom himself actually showed up, I think they've done a great job of making him quite menacing.
It's terrible.
He's one of my kind of villains, in that he's a force of nature. Like, he's kind of this unstoppable thing that feels, like they can never do it. And the fight's good. Barry, like, throwing the lightning at him was badass, but then him catching it and throwing it back. Some scientists will tell me how ridiculous that is, but that's fine. That's cool. Freezing the lasers, not cool, just stupid. That's badass. Right? This is badass.
Yeah.
But now, like, Zoom specifically beating the shit out of him, and then, like, racing to the newspaper office and being like, yeah, this is your hero. Then racing to the police station, this is your hero. Oh, I can catch all your bullets. You're powerless against me. Like, all of that was really good stuff, because it was a fun episode. All that stuff was funny, like I said before, but when it got to that last, like, 10 minutes, like, shit got real, to quote Bad Boys 2.
Connor, what did you think about Zoom?
Yeah, Zoom was terrifying. Like, he was always menacing just in his demeanour and his, like, the short bits of dialogue we've had from him before. But, like, then when the moment it turned for me was when he caught the light, and I was like, oh shit, he's really, like, ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a whole step above. And then, yeah, like I said, just parading him around the city, just, like, showing off, like, how much better he is. Because he just had him by the neck, essentially, and it was just, like...
That was very comic book, and I don't mean that in a bad way, just the way that he was holding him by his neck, and, like, Barry was, like, unconscious. It just looked very, like, like a villain holding up the corpse of... it reminded me of something that I'd seen in a comic book.
Yeah, definitely. I also really like the look of Zoom. He basically looks like if the Venom symbiote took over the Flash, which is pretty cool. I mean, he's got, like, that creepy, like, not mouth. It's just like like it was melted over, basically, and then, like, those, like, really menacing eyes and claws and shit. It's really cool. I liked Cisco's reaction to the lightning bolt being thrown. He's like, "Oh, you mean the big scary guy with claws throwing lightning back at you?" Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, we've seen that. Also, Wells from Earth 2, his daughter is apparently Jesse Quick.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's new information. Be interested to see how that plays into it. I'm thinking... I don't know if the Zoom stuff will go on hold for the crossover and setting up Legends of Tomorrow, because I've got a feeling Zoom will be all season. So I'm wondering if by the end of the season, the way that they're eventually going to beat him is that it's going to take, like, a unified force. Like, it's going to be like Jay will get his powers back, maybe Jesse Quick will have her powers, and it'll be like a full, speedster, like, assault or whatever.
That'd be cool.
But that was a nice little touch because it was a surprise. I wasn't expecting it, which is nice.
Speaking of nice little touches, we hear through a news broadcast that in Earth 2, Oliver Queen is dead.
Yeah.
So
And Robert-
I was actually thinking about that earlier at the beginning of the episode when it did the previously on thing, and I was going, "Hey, I wonder if there's like an alternate version of the Arrow somewhere in here." And then they were like, "Nope, he's dead." Although I guess his dad
No,
is.
his dad was. 'Cause
Yeah,
he
his
just got
dad's-
outed, wasn't he?
Yeah, Dad's the Hood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess he's still going by that in Earth.
No,
2.
no, he said. It said Star City's Arrow, formerly known as the Hood,
Ah, right. Okay.
revealed himself to be whatever Oliver Queen's dad's name is.
Robert.
Robert.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, that was a nice little touch. That was just a little Easter egg, I guess, more than anything else. I don't think it's going to.
I think it's just to show that things are a little bit different. Just to
Yeah.
emphasize that.
Yeah, and it also means that if they want Arrow to show up like an Earth 2 Arrow, they just get a different actor. I haven't really watched much of Arrow. Did they ever show his dad? Was there an actor?
Yeah, and in season 1 there was, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. They'll scar his face or something, and just
It'll just be a shadow in the night. That's what it
or give the guy some work. I don't know.
Yeah.
But back to the Flash himself, I really enjoyed. I don't know, just Barry's reactions to things and how Joe can kind of talk him down, make him see an alternate side. I don't know. I just really love that dynamic that they have.
Good relationship.
Interesting.
Speaking of good relationships, him and Patty's chemistry is cooking quite well.
Yeah, it is. I'm enjoying that.
They're great together. I'm convinced she's going to figure out his secret, though. Because obviously we saw her last week figure out the blindness.
Yeah, I think she will.
It's not going to take long.
And unfortunately, I have a feeling they're setting her up to be the one that Zoom's going to kill.
I don't want that. I love her already. She can't die.
I feel like that's going to happen. And I think we spoke about a little bit about it last week, but how are we still feeling about who Zoom's going to end up being? I'm still thinking Earth 2 Barry, but it could be Earth 2 Eddie or Earth 2 anyone that we know.
Earth 2 Joe, potentially.
Potentially.
Ooh.
I got the feeling that, when he was parading Barry around, that he kind of was going for the family. Because it wasn't just the news and the police, which obviously they're locations you'd go to.
Yeah, it was Iris.
There was Iris and Joe.
Yeah. That's interesting.
That is a good observation. I like the theory about alternate Joe.
Yeah, it could be Joe too.
Because then that makes both of Barry's father figures turning into terrible speedsters that want to murder him.
There's sort of a poetic irony to that.
Also, speaking of that, I'm enjoying Dick Wells from Earth 2. Because what I really appreciate about first of all, he's entertained just being a dick, right? To like everyone, and like he's like a good counterpoint for Cisco. But I like that it'd have been really an obvious choice to have him come over, right, and realise, oh, my counterpart did all these bad things. So he might be constantly kind of apologetic and be kind of worried about what people think of him, and he doesn't give a shit because he knows it's not him, and he's just like, no, like, shut up, I don't care what, Thawne and like my other person's body did. That's not me, right? So let's get the job done, you wankers. Like he's very straight and to the point. He's very
I'm enjoying him a lot. He's a lot of fun because he is just a straight up dick.
But obviously it's a good way of having the actor still be around, and
which is good because he's great. He's doing a great job still.
So I guess the last thing we need to talk about is the fact that Barry has no feeling in his legs at the end of the episode. So
I mean, he'll be the fastest man in a wheelchair.
yeah. Oh man, I kind of hope that happens. Like he can't run, but he can still do the wheels really fast.
Oh man.
But what that will do, though, because we're talking about Wells, is it'll give us some interesting like symmetry from season 1's imagery, where we'll have Barry in a wheelchair and we'll have Wells walking around. It's just a nice visual touch.
I wonder how many episodes they'll keep it going for.
I think he'll either be back in his feet by the end of the next episode, or maybe
8's the crossover, isn't it? So
is it the crossover?
I thought it was 8 again.
I'm sure I read today it was in December. And a note on the crossover, from what I read today, actually, it sounds like it's going to be like a part 1's Flash, part 2's Arrow kind of deal. So if you don't watch Arrow, it may be worth watching that one episode for the complete crossover story.
So I may be I might be crossing over with my own podcast to talk about Arrow.
just for one week, just one time deal.
You will suffer with us.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, good stuff. All right, well, I guess that does it for our review of this week's episode of The Flash.